Welcome to the second session on Overview of Project Management by Uplatz. This is Hari again. I'm a project management professional since last 2 decades. Objective of this video. This video is intended for anyone who is exploring to know what is project management. This video is no means intended to be a complete exploration of project management, nor it is going to make you a project management professional. This is an introduction to project management while assessing whether it would be of interest for you to pursue it as a career. Contents have been pulled together from various sources including books, courses, presentations, and my own experience. In the previous video, Project Management Fundamentals Session 1, we discussed about the following topics. A brief on history of project management and standards, project definition and meaning, the triple constraints theory, project stakeholder management, introduction to scope and feasibility, and characteristics of a good project manager. Let's quickly glance through what are the things we covered under these topics. In the history of project management, we discussed on the early contributors for the project management practices. In 19th century, Frederick Taylor contributed in terms of work breakdown and piecemeal work concepts. Early 20th century, Henry L. Gantt heavily contributed on task scheduling, the Gantt charts, and work breakdown structure. In 1950 and beyond, Booz Allen Hamilton came up with a tool called Program Evaluation Review Technique (PERT) and Critical Path Method (CPM). Into 21st century, we have a long list of software packages to execute the projects like Microsoft projects, Primavera, and so on. We also have new methodologies or techniques for project management like Agile. We glance through different standards used in the industry for project management like CMM, GAPS, PMBOK, Hermes, ISO 9000, Prince2, Team Software Process, Total Cost Management Framework, and we model. You can refer to the video 1 for more details on these standards. We also touched upon the definition of project, relationship of project management with other organization management practices, the triple constraint theory, and the phases. Definition of project. A project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product or a service or a result. The project management practices have to be aligned along with the organization general management and the domain expertise, knowledge, and practices. A project manager has to balance through the three constraints of the project management, that is scope goal, cost goal, and time goal. And each project has to be broken into different phases for ease of project management and achieving the objectives of the project. We also discussed on the 5 process groups of the project management. Project management is a discipline that will support the planning, implementation, tracking, and control of projects. Project management is accomplished through 5 process groups, that's initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, and closing. We also discussed on various stakeholders to be managed during the project execution. We touched upon project scoping and the feasibility analysis. Project scoping is defining and agreeing on results that the customer expects. Feasibility is checking whether the project is technically feasible, has organization support, and does it have the financial backing. The business case and the cost benefit analysis are the 2 key inputs for the feasibility analysis. The output is the decision to proceed with the project or to shelve it. We also discussed on some of the key characteristics of a good project manager. Please read through for yourself. Okay, let's move on. So the project management is basically the application of knowledge, skills and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirements. This application of knowledge requires the effective management of processes. So what is a process? A process is a set of interrelated actions and activities performed to create a pre-specified product or a service or a result. Each process is typically characterized by its inputs, tools and techniques that can be applied and the resulting outputs. In a short form, it is ITTO. I stands for inputs, T stands for tools, the second T stands for techniques, and O stands for outputs. The project manager needs to consider organizational process assets and enterprise environmental factors before following these processes. These project processes are performed by the project team with stakeholders interaction. And these processes can be categorized into two sets. First one is project management processes and the second one product oriented processes. These two processes overlap and interact each other. Although product oriented processes are outside the scope of project management, they should not be ignored by the project manager and the project team. The project management processes ensure the effective flow of the project throughout its life cycle. These processes encompass the tools and techniques involved in applying the skills and capabilities for managing the project. Whereas product oriented processes specify and create the project's product. Product oriented processes are defined by the project lifecycle and application area as well as the phase of the product lifecycle. The scope of the project cannot be defined without understanding of how to create the specified product. In this session, we are going to focus only on project management processes, and product oriented processes has to be considered for following these processes. As we have said earlier, project management processes are segregated into 5 process groups, that is initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, and closing. This picture shows the summary of the 5 process groups within the project life cycle. Let's get into the objectives of these different process groups. The initiating process group processes are performed to define new project or a new phase of an existing project authorization to start the project or the phase. Planning process group processes are required to establish the scope of the project, define the objectives, and define the course of action required to attain those objectives. Executing process group processes are performed to complete the work defined in the project management plan, satisfying the project specifications. In summary, initiation process group activities or the processes are performed to define the new project. Planning group activities are for establishing the scope of the project, defining the objectives, and defining the course of action to reach the objectives. And execution is basically performance to complete the work defined as per the project management plan which was established during planning phase. Monitoring and controlling process group processes are required to track, review, and regulate the progress and performance of the project. Identify any areas in which changes to the plan are required and initiate the corresponding changes. Closing process group processes are performed to finalize all activities across all process groups to formally close the project or the phase. Let's get some more insights into these process groups. Initiating processes. You can see this is the start point for any project. So the output of this process group are initial scope definition, initial financial resources are committed, identification of internal and external stakeholders, project manager selected, preparation of project charter and stakeholder register. In summary, by the end of this process group activities, we would have defined the project scope in detail. We would have committed for the financial resources for the project. We would have identified the internal and external stakeholders. We would have identified the project manager for the project if not done earlier. And we would have prepared the project charter and ready with the stakeholder register. Planning process group. So the output of this process group include development of project management plan, a key activity in planning process group, development of project documents which will be used during project execution. These outputs will explore all aspects of scope, time, cost, quality, communication, human resources, risks, procurements, and stakeholder requirements. Apart from project management plan, we should also develop other key documents like the configuration management, risk management, change management, and so on and so forth, which we will see in the later slides. Executing process group. The activities or the process under this process group involves coordinating with people and resources, managing the stakeholder expectations, integrating and performing the activities of the project in line with the project management plan, This is an action-oriented process group wherein we coordinate with all the resources, managing the stakeholder expectations, integrating the activities as per the project management plan prepared during planning process group. Monitoring and controlling process group. This is an overarching process group for both planning, execution, and also closure. In this process group, the project performance is measured and analyzed at regular intervals, at appropriate events, and also during exceptional conditions to identify any variances from the project management plan which was finalized during planning product process group. Monitoring and controlling process group also includes controlling changes and recommending corrective actions in anticipation of possible problems in achieving the project objectives. Monitoring the ongoing project activities against management plan and the project performance measurement baseline. Influencing the factors that could circumvent integrated change control or configuration management so that only approved changes are implemented. The closing process group. Closing process group activities ensures that we have verified that the defined processes are completed within all of the process groups to close the project. It also formally establishes that the project is complete, including premature closure if any. Premature project closure may include aborted projects, cancelled projects, or critical situation projects. These five process groups encompass 49 individual different processes, which are further grouped into 10 knowledge areas. These knowledge areas are the project integration management, the project scope management, the project schedule management, the project cost management, the project quality management, the project resource management, project communication management, project risk management, project procurement management, and project stakeholder management. We will be discussing in detail on all these knowledge areas in the upcoming video sessions. Here is a sample of the project management framework with the process groups and the milestones. It is evident that all these five process groups interact with each other. The execution and monitoring phases and along with planning typically have a closer interaction and frequent monitoring. We can also have a well-defined milestones for better monitoring and control of the project execution. Here is one more illustration on the project management processes. In this framework, we have also defined some of the outcomes or the activities for each process groups. During initiation planning process group, we come with the project management plan. We will document the product technical specifications. We specify the tailoring guidelines in line with the organization process. Risk analysis will be conducted. Configuration management is defined. Decision analysis is also defined. During execution, process group. So the work instruction and checklist is followed. Technical review process is followed. Project review process is adhered. Project status report is prepared. Project health guidelines monitored. Change request management is followed. Configuration management is also followed. In the closure process group, retrospective analysis is done. A case study document is prepared and configuration management is updated. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any feedback, queries, please write to us at the below email ID info@uplatz.com. I repeat, info@uplatz.com. Thank you very much.